Welcome to the Kind Leader Podcast, where empathy meets action in the world of leadership. Your host, Gino Degregori, engages with innovators and seasoned professionals from diverse sectors, all demonstrating the power of leading with kindness. And now, your host, Gino Degregori.
What if everything you think you know about cybersecurity has the equation backwards? What if your people aren't the weakest link? They're the only real defense you have. The entire industry has spent decades treating them like a liability instead of an asset. My guest today is going to argue exactly that. And after this conversation, you may never look at the team the same way again. Hi, I'm Gino Degregori, and welcome to the Kind Leader Podcast. Today, we have a great guest, someone that I just met a couple of weeks ago. I feel like I've known him for years. Within minutes, I knew that this was going to be a long-lasting friendship, to be honest, right? So Juan Carlos Paris is one of those rare people in technology who carries a real soul into the room. He's a great storyteller. He's based in Panama. He's the director of IT and data protection officer for a regional bank, and he leads cybersecurity policy and culture for the director of cybersecurity committee of Panamanian Banking Association. But that's just his resume. He's also a TEDx speaker. He sits on the EU CyberNet expert pool. He advises Duke University executive cybersecurity program. And in his own time, he's founded Secure Robot, an initiative to bring cybersecurity awareness to families and children's, because he really believes safety online starts at the dinner table. So what really pulled me to have this conversation and bring Juan Carlos to be with us, he's just when the first minute I saw him, he's such a kind leader from day one, from the minute I kind of interacted, and he really brings that to the conversation. And I'm looking forward to understand that perspective from Juan Carlos. So welcome, Juan Carlos, and my friend. It's an honor to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you so much. It's for me a pleasure to be here, sharing my thoughts. I'm sharing some quality time with you. Have to say, very happy to be here. Okay. Well, as you mentioned, I work in cybersecurity. It's not only about technology. It's about people, behavior, culture, and of course, leadership. Through my work in the financial sector, I try to educate public speaking. And as you know, I have my own podcast that have a name from user to defender. And I found out about working in the industry for more than 30 years that technology starts with persons and ends with persons. And cyber attacks starts with persons and end with persons. So we're taking the people, the persons out of the equation, and we're trying to bring them again to spread about awareness all around in the cybersecurity environment.
Absolutely. No, thank you for that. And then, congratulations in your success. I know you've been in the industry, in the banking industry for a while, and you live in Panama right now, but you're also from Venezuela too, right?
Yes, I was born in Venezuela, but I've been here in Panama for more than 18 years. And I was doing cybersecurity when the term even exists.
Wow.
So we started working on computers and say, hey, somebody will try to break in this. Let's put a password on it. And all the evolution about the password, and, we start with only 4 characters. And then they start like, well, you have to have capitals, numbers, special characters. And then that evolves in so many controls to keep the bad guys away from our data and from our assets.
Beautiful, beautiful. So again, congratulations in everything you've been doing. And before we dive into cybersecurity and, the human side of the fence, as well as the user to defender, this is the essence of the podcast here. What does being a kind leader mean to you?
Well, talking about kind leader is, people saying it's complicated, but I believe it's not that way. To be a kind leader means leading with both clarity and humanity. I believe kindness is not a sense of accountability. It's a way of create the conditions for the people to grow, to speak out, to make better decisions, to feel that they are part of something meaningful. In cybersecurity, we often say that people is the weakest link. I know that all of you have heard this before, but people become vulnerable when we fail to train them. That's the first thing I have to point out, okay? When we fail to support them, to communicate them with clarity, and we build trust with them. That's very important. And a kind leader understands that every process on your company, every system, and every risk, there is a human being making decisions under pressure.
Yep.
And the cyber criminals know that. That's why social engineering works so well.
Yeah.
And for me, a kind leader is about transforming and fear that we talk on backstage into awareness, and to translate awareness in actions and action in culture. Then we can talk later about my 3 C's: consciousness, culture, and compromise. Okay? When you have those 3 C's on your team, you can count on putting your colleagues and collaborators in the front line of defense.
Beautiful. What was the first one? I got culture and compromise. What was the first one?
We got the 3 C's: conciencia, compromiso, y cultura. In English will be consciousness, compromise, and culture. Okay? The culture comes from the first 2 of them.
Gotcha. Perfect. No, great way of describing kind leader. I love that perspective because you were able to infuse not only the humanity side, what you say, clarity and humanity, and being part of something bigger, right? And then you shifted a little bit more into transforming into awareness and action and culture, which we'll talk a little bit more about that. But
let me point something else out, okay? Because somebody saying that being kind is to be nice all the time, and that's not how it works. It's about being intentional, respectful, consistent, and as your company, brave enough to care about people while still pursuing high standards. I think that is the close phrase for my kind leader in my heart and in my mind.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it's hard nowadays with all the stuff that we're seeing, right, to lead with that, right? Because people may see that as potential weakness, you're getting too soft, or, why focus on people? And that's the whole point of this podcast. And this mission for me is like, there's ways to grow. You're going to find kind leaders all over the world, right? And I happened to travel to Panama, and I found a kind leader right off the bat. So
thank you so much.
That's an amazing thing, because I feel like we're attracting the right people to do the right things, to become the better version of ourselves. So
absolutely.
A little more on the kind leader kind of description. Do you have stories that you can share, whether you growing up, where somebody was a kind leader to you, or you were a kind leader that you want to share here with the team?
Well, Gino, we always remember kind leaders.
Of course.
The bad ones, I don't know how. I think I have a superpower that I forgot very easily bad things. But kind leaders, we always remember them. Somebody that trusts you, somebody that gives you an opportunity, somebody that gives you an advice, even somebody that in the moment that took you and tell you something that you feel in that time it was not correct, that to tell you, to correct you in some way. But at the end of the time, you give appreciation for that. You feel good about it. There's somebody to take the time to correct you, to say, hey, don't do this way. You can do it the other way. Don't ever do that again. And that's a kind of leader that we want. Somebody that have the advice for you at the right time.
Yeah.
It's not about being nice. The nice comes after, when you understand that he's giving you a present, and you have to take that present. And something very important in your life and everything is don't take anything personal.
Yeah.
When people start taking things personal, bad things happen.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's great. And I appreciate you kind of sharing the foundation, right? And the continued description of the kind leader. What I was hoping to hear, if you can share any particular story that.
Yes, of course. I have a lot of them. Very long time ago, I don't want to say the year because somebody will probably say, well, you're very old. Was working on a very big bank, and this big system AS400, and they
Okay.
have like the power button on the upper part of the server, and I was like hanging with my hand on it, and I shut down the
Ooh.
Constellation server, the one that make all the transactions between banks.
Oh my
And
goodness.
that
Ouch.
server was shut down unintentionally, of course, for 20 seconds. But to start up the server, it would take like 45 minutes. And that was 45 minutes by error mistake that the bank cannot send or receive any money from other banks. I was on a dilemma to say this true, but I was also the dilemma to don't say the truth. All my colleagues will start like going crazy to know what happened. What
Right,
happened
right.
was easy. The server was shut down. And it wasn't not shut down for an error of system or
Right.
electricity or whatever. It was a human error.
Yeah.
So I talked to my leader and said, you know what happened? I did that. I'm so sorry. I was childhood playing with my hands putting my hands where I don't have to put my hands on.
Right.
And he smiled to me and he said, you know what? You win a lunch. You say, I win a lunch to do that? Yes, because if you don't tell us what happened, we will probably get here until night finding out what happened.
Oh my gosh.
Looking at the logs, everybody was running. The president of the bank came down to the server area and asked what's happening. And it was something so easy to say.
Wow. Yeah.
I was scary of death, to losing my job, to
Yeah.
sue. They will sue me. They will not want to work with me at all in the future. But strangely, he saw that as a good thing.
Yeah.
He's like, congratulations for your telling me this true, and we will work this out. Don't worry about it. I'm so glad that was happened, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, and see, and that's character right there too. Not only from your side, right? Kind of owning up to it, and then being like, "Hey, whatever happens, I need to show up and be honest." Because to his point, it's like somebody else was like, "Man, I better be quiet, or else I'm going to get fired." But you took the initiative, and
I was John, and I consider that that in some way changed my life in some good ways. That's what kind leaders do.
Yeah,
because. Imagine the scene. Of course, it didn't happen that way, but suppose that this guy got very angry, throw me out of the working area, tell everyone don't work with me because I committed a stupid error.
Yeah.
And I don't want to work no more in the technology industry. So I will be today another person. I don't know if for good or for bad, but I love what I do.
Yeah.
And I always tell my students, and I can remember one of these of many kind leaders' memories to share with and to advise the younger people to be kind leaders in the future too.
Right, right. Yeah, no, that was a beautiful story. I mean, that resonates, right? And I'm sure the listeners out there can be like, "Oh my gosh," I can, they can feel it because it could have gone either way, right? But it happened to go the right way, where you had a kind leader behind him. It was like, "Hey, you did the right thing. You're gonna get rewarded. In the future, don't make stupid mistakes.
Yes,
you won't,
absolutely.
Right?
Don't do that again."
Right. But you learned from it, and that's beautiful. That's exactly what we want. Where you creating a safe space, right, where people are able to make mistakes, right? Don't make the same mistake again, but able to make mistake and learn from that, right?
Yeah. But when we talk about mistakes and technology, it's a very interesting point of how can we view this, okay? Because let me tell you something, by the way. This power down button have a protection layer on it that was not there. Okay,
man.
I'm not justifying my stupid part of the story, but they have like a little door that prevents that people play around with that.
Yeah.
And let me bring this to something so trivial like passwords. Okay, if you have a user in your company that use 123458 password, and that is a weak password, and because of that password, some cyber criminal can get in the system. which one are we going to blame on it? The one that put the 128 password, or the one that makes the configuration of the password and let the user use the 1234558?
Right.
Okay. So in technology, the technology guys treat very bad the users.
Yeah.
We
Right.
even have, Gino, we have like the PIPCAC problem exists between the keyboard and the chair. We have the layer A problem, okay, talking about the user. And
Right.
those expressions are not very respectful, okay? Because in technology, we try to blame the user all the time for things that go wrong. And we forget that even the administrators, that we are users too. Okay, I don't like the term user, because the term user is an identifier in the system.
Right.
I prefer to talk about people, persons, colleagues.
Yep.
Okay.
That's where one of the topics here that I wanted to bring up, converting from a users to the defenders, right? Like the people. Like, let's talk a little bit about the transforming people from passive users into active defenders, right? That's a beautiful idea. I think you talk about that in your podcast and in other areas. But how do you actually do that? How do you shift that conversation, right, in the cybersecurity people to say, hey, let's start looking at these people as assets rather than a liability?
Okay. First of all, we have to start thinking about if a colleague makes a mistake. In most of the times, is because they don't have the training, they don't have the tools, they don't have the consciousness of what is happening. Okay? And actually, they don't have the trust to say that something is going wrong. The first thing you have to win is the trust of all your colleagues, all the employees of the organizations, because you convert each one of these colleagues in I don't know how to say it in English. It's like sonda. A sonda is like something that recollects information and send it to the headquarters. How do you say that in English? A sonda, like
zoning, maybe, or like
if you say that, I can probably tell you.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like information recollection all around their office. You adding eyes on it. So if you have 100 colleagues, you have 200 eyes that are seeing, watching, recognizing wrong patterns in their system, but they are doing something beautiful. They're reporting. So, if you work in technology and the internet goes down, you will not get noticed by your system, the SOC. You will start getting called from all the users. Hey, I don't have internet. I don't have internet. That works right away, immediately.
Yep. Right.
Why? Because all your colleagues start calling help desk everywhere. We don't have internet.
Right.
Well, you have to translate that into other things. Okay. I'm receiving this strange email. I'm opening this web page. It looks like my bank, but it's not my bank.
Yeah.
Reporting. Something is very strange because I cannot get access to this part of my drive, and it's asking me for information that never asked me before. And all those users start going on the front line and reporting you. And that's unbeatable for cyber criminals, because they're always looking for the weak point. And the weak point is the human. And we are enforcing the human as the strongest link.
And it goes back to what you were saying, changing the mindset from users to defenders. And how do we get them to become defenders, right? It's training, I would imagine. It's awareness, right? And all those things to be able to help, right? Like you were saying, like there's a bunch of people looking and monitoring and providing. Say something, see something, say something. I'm not sure if you've heard that before, but.
Well, Gino, fear may create attention, but trust create transformation. We have to talk about cybersecurity leadership, by the way, because we have to move from fear-based communication to trust behavior change. Okay? That's absolutely a mindset. Okay.
Yeah.
Because in cybersecurity, we have used fear for many years.
Mm-hmm.
We tell people, don't click, don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
You are the weakest link. But fears do not build culture. You know that. You know that.
Yep.
What fear does? Fear creates silence.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
when people are afraid of being blamed for something, they hide mistakes.
Yep.
But when people trust the environment, they report.
Yep.
They ask questions. They
Yes.
learn.
Yeah.
And they become part of the defense.
Yeah.
Period.
That's
okay.
beautiful.
And that's the kind of leadership is so important in cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Because we need accountability, of course. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Well said. And I want to go back to what you said, and I missed the second part, but fear creates attention. Trust creates what?
Transformation. Okay. And you don't want attention. You want to make the transformation on the behavior and the culture of your company.
Yeah, no, this is it right here, right? Especially in the cybersecurity, right?
Yeah.
Like that, creating that environment, whether it's cybersecurity or companies, right? Creating that fear. People are going to be like, be quiet. They're not going to give you the feedback you need. They're not going to give you the support because they think if I say something in the conference room or somewhere else, that's it. They're going to get cut, right? Or get fired or something happen. Or get yelled at sometimes, right? It's like
it's very absolutely because people are not the weakest link.
Yeah,
I think they are the most undeveloped defense layer.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to work that out. One of the ideas that I try to explain in my podcast is that I care about the most is changing the way we talk about people in cybersecurity. That's PIPCAP layer 8, okay? Because for years we have called them the weakest link. And I believe this language is not only unfair, but also strategical wrong, by the way, in some way. We treat people as a problem.
Yeah.
But we design programs around control, blame, the complaints, and we don't see the potential of the defenders.
Right.
So we have to work about designing programs around education, empowerment, and behavior. That's a huge difference.
Yeah. But it's, you said also culture, right? Culture is key because people see cybersecurity or AI, for example, right? Let's just throw technology and we're going to improve, be secure, be productive. But at the end of the day, it's the people that make all this happen. So if your environment and your business or team or department, you're not creating the safe space, right? Where people can be honest, people can be not fear, that's going to impact so much. It's going to allow you to take that company or that team to the next level, right? And I know in your experience, you've done that a lot, right?
Yeah, but the culture have to come from top to bottom and from bottom to top.
Yep.
Okay. I told you about these 3 C's: consciousness, commitment, and culture.
Yep.
And the transformation from user to defender can be explained through these 3 C's: consciousness, commitment, and culture. Also, awareness is the most common word in cybersecurity, but consciousness works better for this matter because it connects more deeply with the leadership purpose, because we're talking about responsibility and human transformation, okay? And of course, the culture comes from the consciousness and the commitment. People have to be conscious that this is happening and they can happen to them.
Right.
And people have to have the commitment to act, to report when something wrong is happening. And then the culture comes along with the consciousness and the commitment is inside of the people.
Absolutely. And I like how you break down the 3 C's because that's critical. Having a framework also to be able to incorporate, right, into your organization to drive that. And it needs to, you said top to bottom, but also bottom to top.
Yep.
You have to set the vision of what you want as a leader to make sure that the company, but then you have to go all the way to the bottom to educate and work with them, get feedback too, because at this level, right, it's like, it's not about just creating the vision, but it's also about there's subcultures being created in your organization that you need to understand as well, right?
Yes. For me, a kind leader helps to connect these 3 C's.
Yes.
And give people confidence and care.
Yeah.
Okay, because consciousness means helping people understand that cybersecurity is not just an IT issue.
Yeah.
It's connect to trust, privacy, money, identity, and the
Yeah.
way to protect each other. Okay.
Yeah.
And we talk about commitment means moving from knowing to acting. That's very
Right.
important. You
Yeah.
can know a lot of things, but if you don't put action on it,
Yeah.
it's not a done deal. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's when people feel responsible enough to report something suspicious, by the way.
Yeah.
Question something unusual,
Yeah.
unusual request, for example, or very important thing, pause before clicking. The social engineers take very good knowledge about immediately doing things. So
Yeah.
if you stop, think, and act, in 90% of the time, it will break the social engineer attack. Okay.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
the end, the culture is what happened when those two behaviors become normal in your life. When
Yeah.
reporting is encouraged, when asking question is safe, by the way, why not?
Yep.
And
Exactly.
when people understand that protecting the organization is part of everyone's role.
Yeah, absolutely. But I want to ask you one question more, like a little deeper into the cybersecurity programs or cultures right now, right?
Okay.
Right now in the world are still very designed around control, compliance, punishment, right? Like you do something, they're going to
That's
fine you, right?
changing. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big thing, right? The board wants a dashboard, right? The auditor wants a checkbox, right? What you're describing, though, is a little bit different. It's a culture, the trust, the empowering defenders take
Yes.
years to build and won't show up cleanly on a quarterly report, or it has to come from top to bottom, but right? But so tell me your perspective. How do you start incorporating this on a deeper work so people like on the leadership can be like, all right, this makes sense and not like keep controlling and compliance?
Well, in cybersecurity, we are always learning from the criminals.
Yeah.
Always learning from the criminals. Sometimes criminals learn from us, but more of the time we learn from them. So what's happening with the introduction of artificial intelligence?
Mm-hmm.
Now we have hyper personalized attacks.
Yep.
What's a hyper personalized attack? Well, with the help of artificial intelligence, I could do a custom made attack for Gino.
Yeah.
And then I can send email telling about he loves to fly, he loves to technology, he loves
Right.
to eat sushi, and then I make a conference about sushi, flying, and
Yeah.
and you will
Yep.
be tempted to make click on it. Okay,
Mhm.
so as I say that, those new program of awareness are now copying the hyper personalization because one program will not fit everyone.
Right.
So if you have a lawyers part of your company, you
Yeah.
will make a awareness program for the lawyers. Why?
Yeah.
Because they use different information, they use different language. If you have financial guys from your company, you will make a program for those guys. And this
Yep.
is drilling down even to personalize for each employee or your organization because
Yep.
everybody thinks and works different.
Yes.
So when this is evolving, now this cybersecurity awareness program, they taking so much time to customize and hyper personalize these programs. Because if as a person, if you have any problem that day, your mother is sick, you have
Yeah.
financial problems, you have to rush to present 3 or 4 reports that you haven't finished,
Right.
and you
Right. Right.
receive an email, a phishing email, you will be more active to make click in
Yes.
a regular day of work
Right. Right.
because we are human.
Yeah.
That's how we work. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're essentially trying to, it sounds like the more it's just a culture shift, but also with the training with the culture and the environment and the leadership, all that is what's needed to make sure there's a shift, right? So, and it's going to take
Yes.
time. It's going to take time. And to your point, we're learning from the criminals, right, every day. And we're learning from what not to do and how to adjust. And it's going to get going faster and faster. So the human side is very important. So I appreciate the insight on that. As we move to the next segment, which is flip the mic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Because we're moving along here. We're having great conversation. So what's the question you got for me, Juan Carlos?
Okay. Kind leader.
Yep.
Let's talk about your soul. What make a kind leader, spiritually speaking?
Wow, that's a good question. I haven't had that question for you. So I like it. So when you think of us as humans in this world, a lot of the humans are thinking always from the head, right? From the mind, from the brain, always, the ego mind or the thinking, right? Always trying to protect yourself from all that stuff. The minute we start shifting in our decision making and our thought process from the mind to the heart, that's where things change, right? That's where like you start making, this is where the soul comes in, right? When if you're spiritual, right? Even I'll throw a little bit on the religious side too, but really what I've been able to find myself is like, go deep into who am I really and be yourself to help people in this world, right? And that shifted my mindset because before I started doing this kind leader or even kind leader came into my mind in 2020, I was grinding. I was always just pushing. I was still a nice guy, right? But I was just pushing. And then I stopped and I paused and my soul, my heart started thinking, what is my purpose? My purpose is, we only live a short life. It could be, 50 years, it could be 75, it could be 100, right? We're lucky if we get to 100, right? But it's a short life, right? That you really think about. So what are you going to do in this world that is going to help others? I have this thing that I coined. You've heard of generational wealth, where people, have money, they make money and they have it for generations to come. But what if you look at it from a generational impact? The impact that I make right now with someone that is going to then share it with somebody else and then share it with somebody else, that's long lasting. That's legacy. That's like really helping this world to become a better world. So coming back to your question, is the spiritual is very important. Being who you are, not being afraid of speaking, not being afraid of being the change makers, right? From the right place, from the heart, is what it's all about. So that answer your question?
Yes, kind, because we live in a world that we only are looking at the temporary things.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we have to put our lights, the upper lights, not the short lights.
Yeah.
Okay, and we have to put our eyes in the eternal things. And something that is working for me absolutely beautiful is that I do everything for my Lord. I don't know what Lord do you have. My Lord is Jesus.
Right.
But when you do everything for your Lord, you are absolutely confident that you're doing everything right. That's simple. Because you will never do something wrong for you and for anyone for the Lord.
Right. Exactly. No, I appreciate that. I know that's a passion of yours, and I appreciate that. And that's where it starts, right? And essentially, if we have more people essentially that think like this, we'd be a much better world. And we're doing it one episode at a time is what I'm hoping to do. So thank you for the question. That was a great question. It got me thinking there. But if we shift into a rapid fire questions that I have for you, right? So
fire it up.
What's the one word that you should permanently retire from cybersecurity training?
Fear.
Ooh, yeah. What will you replace it with?
Trust.
Oh, that was an easy. That's a layup for you. Yeah, removing that fear and building that trust. That's critical in cybersecurity and everything, to be honest.
Well, actually, as you know, you work in cybersecurity, by the way. We're talking about zero trust right now.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
But fear doesn't do any good. Even if you are under attack, the best teams that support and faced a cybersecurity attack, is the one that doesn't have fear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that. No, that's good. The next question is one thing about Latin America leadership, because we're talking about cultures. Culture are different in different countries, right? But what's one thing about Latin American leadership that you wish the rest of the world would learn from?
Warmness.
Okay.
Yeah. People are very as different of Europe and maybe the state in Latin America. People really take care of everyone.
Okay.
So if you see a colleague that is sick, you will probably take soup to his house.
Yeah.
That will never happen in the States. I mean, it can actually happen, but only for close persons or very, very close persons. But in Latin America, you can meet a guy and you know that his family is sick or he's sick, and you are live nearby. You meet the guy for maybe a week, and you go to his house and bring him a soup or something to take care of them. So I think in Latin America, we are more close as people, more warmness. Yes.
I like what you say. Yeah. And it's also warmer too, but you know, it's warm.
Yes.
The next question is if Secure Robot, could teach a 10-year-old just one lesson about courage in digital world, what would it be?
For the little guys?
Yeah, for the little guys.
Okay. The little guy have to report to. Because our children are doing digital life. They are digital native.
Yeah.
We are only visitors.
Yes.
So if you have a little kid for 7 to 8 years with a phone, with full access to the internet, it's the same that you drop this kid at 6 o'clock in your favorite mall and tell, hey, boy, I will pick you up at 10 o'clock. I'll leave him alone.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's crazy.
That's the best reference that I can put on that. Okay. So keep your little ones check all the time and show them to report everything.
Beautiful.
Build that trust with them.
Okay. I like that. All right. Thank you very much for that. One more question. So Juan Carlos, this conversation has been everything I hope, because you're bringing some great warmth into the conversation and kindness. But before we wrap up, I want to give you the floor. If a leader is listening to this right now and they're tired, they're under pressure, they're trying to do the right thing in the industry that doesn't always reward it, what is the one truth? What's the one thing you want to leave them with?
Okay. Be kind. Remember that people are different from you. Remember that people can have different impression from you. Okay? Talk to them. Communicate. Ask them, do you have any problem in your home? What is your performance going down? Something that I can help you. Be person. Be a kind leader. Talking and communicating. Connection is absolutely important to be a leader.
Yeah, beautiful. Juan Carlos, thank you. What you've shared today, it's going to stay with me. And, like I said, we've only known each other for a couple of weeks, but
yes, I feel like my brother forever. Yeah.
Brother from another mother. I don't know if you heard that before, but I know you've reminded us that the most sophisticated technology in the world is still no match for culture, right?
Yes.
The trust, respect, and courage. That the cybersecurity is really about machines. It's about the people. It's about us and how we treat each other, how we create that environment. And then we bring the tools, then we bring the automation, then we realize, but it's really, at the end of the day, it's about the people, right? So for our audience here, before your next team meeting this week, ask yourself one question. Have I been treating my people like a risk to manage or like a defenders they actually are? And then change one thing, just one. That's where this work starts, right? So Juan Carlos, thank you. Muchas gracias.
My pleasure.
Before we let you go, where can listeners find you, reach out to you?
Well, actually, you can find me on LinkedIn by my name, Juan Carlos Paris, as the capital of France. And for Spanish listeners, you can find my podcast. That is, the name is From de Usuarios a Defensores in all mainstreams.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Juan Carlos, again, my friend, and to everyone listening, thank you for being here. If this episode resonated with you, share with one leader in your life who needs to hear it. So with that, I leave you. Be kind, bring value, rise together. Have an amazing day, everybody.